Welcome to week one of Business Analytics. Hi, I am Dr. Richard J. Sands. In this lesson, we will explore analytics and artificial intelligence as tools of stewardship, not just for speed or efficiency. As your course creator, I want you to begin the course by asking how data, AI, and decision making can be used wisely, ethically, and to service for others. Here's where we're going this week. We will begin with the week one overview, then move into stewardship framework, and then examine key focus areas: responsible AI basics, transparency, and limits and ethical guardrails. By the end of the lesson, you should be able to connect the readings and discussion to CLO 5 and to your own responsible use of analytics and AI. This week, our core focus is analytics as stewardship and responsible AI. I want you to hear that phrase as both a technical and a spiritual responsibility. Analytics can influence people, resources, and outcomes. So we will introduce the course by asking how wise decision making should guide the way we use data and AI. For week one, you will focus on responsible AI, transparency, disclosure, limits of AI output, and ethical guardrails. You will also prepare for our discussion question about what stewardship requires when analytics and AI influence people and outcomes. There is no assignment this week, so use the readings and resources to build a strong foundation for the course. Now we will narrow in on our week one focus. Before we use analytics or AI to make recommendations, we need to consider the responsibility that comes with this influence. Proverbs 3:5-6 reminds us not to rely only on our own understanding, and that principle applies directly to how we interpret data, evaluate AI output, and make these decisions. I want you to think about this framework in three parts. First, responsible AI basics help you understand what the tool can and cannot do. Second, transparency and disclosure help you communicate honestly about AI use and its limits. Third, stewardship and ethical guardrails help you make decisions and account for stakeholders, consequences, and Christian worldview principles. These are the three focus areas I want you to carry through the week. Responsible AI asks whether our tools are appropriate, reliable, and fair. Transparency and limits ask whether we are communicating honestly and checking all AI output. Stewardship and guardrails ask whether our decisions affect wisdom, accountability, and care for the people affected. Responsible AI begins with understanding that AI systems are designed, selected, and used by people. That means you must consider the quality of the data, the possibility of bias, the reliability of the outcome, and the purpose behind the tool. In this course, I want you to use AI as a support for judgment, not a substitute for your judgment. Consider a university using analytics to identify students who may need academic support. The data may highlight missed assignments, low engagement, or other risk indicators, but responsible use requires context and human review. The goal is not to label students unfairly. The goal is to intervene with care, support, and wisdom. In this real-world example, responsible AI basics, customer feedback analytics, and human review. A manager uses AI to summarize customer feedback and identify recurring themes. The team compares AI themes and survey data and documents source assumptions. Decision makers treat AI as output at a starting point, not the final answer. Our second focus is transparency, disclosure, and limits of AI output. AI can sound confident and still be inaccurate, biased, and incomplete. When you use AI for academic and professional work, you need to explain its role when appropriate, verify important claims, and remember that you remain responsible for the final decisions and or product. Real world example, transparency and limits. Imagine a manager using an LLM, Gemini, Chat, etc., Claude, to summarize customer feedback or draft a recommendation. Transparency means a manager should not present the output as if it came from an independent human analysis without review. A responsible manager verifies the summary against the source data, explains AI assistance when appropriate, and uses human judgment to shape the final recommendations. So when we look here at this case study, AI assisted study and discussion preparation. A student asked an LLM to summarize NIST, AI RMF, and business analytics, which is chapter 18 of your book. The student verifies key terms against readiness and notes AI assistance. Unsupported or uncertain outputs are flagged and checked against original source. So this is a perfect case example where student uses AI as a thought partner and then ultimately summarizes the output in his own words. Our third focus is stewardship and ethical guardrails. Stewardship asks more than whether if the tool works, it asks whether the tool is being used wisely, fairly, and with proper care for those affected. Ethical guardrails help you slow down, protect privacy, identify risk, and make sure that analytics supports the mission rather than simply optimizing for convenience. Real-world example of stewardship and guardrails. Imagine an organization using analytics to decide whether to allocate limited resources. A model may rank options by efficiency, cost, or probability of success, but stewardship requires you ask deeper questions. Who benefits? Who may be overlooked? What assumptions are driving the model? And does the decision reflect justice, care, and accountability? When you think about this real world example, nonprofit aid allocation with analytics and human review. A nonprofit uses analytics to prioritize aid requests and identify urgent community needs. Leaders check whether the scoring model overlooks vulnerable applicants or neighborhoods. A human review path protects expectations, dignity, and stakeholder trust. All right, week one, tying it all together. As we tie this together, remember that analytics and AI can create real value, but value is not measured only by speed or output. Responsible practice requires sound data, honest communication, awareness of AI limitations, when it starts to hallucinate, and ethical guardrails. From a Christian worldview perspective, we use these tools best when we combine technical skill with humanity, wisdom, and concern for others. And remember, Proverbs 3, 5, 6, frame humanity in wise action. For our discussion this week, I want you to respond to this question. What does stewardship require when using analytics and AI to influence people, resources, and outcomes? As you prepare to post, connect your response to the readings, Course Learning Objective 5, and the Christian Worldview emphasis for this course. Think beyond whether AI is useful and ask whether the use is wise, transparent, and responsible. There is no formal assignment due for week one. Instead, use the time to engage reading and become familiar with the vocabulary of analytics, AI, LLMs, responsible AI, and stewardship. This foundation will help you participate more thoughtfully in the discussions and prepare for more applied work that comes later in the course. As we close for week one, carry this question with you. How do we use analytics and AI with wisdom, responsibility, and care for others? We will continue using these tools throughout this course, but our purpose is not simply to use technology because it is available. Our purpose is to make sure better decisions is always that honor God, serve people, and account for ethical impact.